All right, everybody, another chapter down. I know that was a lot of information on generations, probably too much, just like total content in there, right? But at the end of the day, I really wanted you guys to have an insight and an understanding into really like how different a lot of us are just based on these generational gaps, right? Because every 10, 20 years, there's just a lot of social norms that like I learned growing up in the 80s and the 90s that is different from growing up in the 2000s or different than growing up in the 70s. So it doesn't make you a different person, but it does and can impact the way that you inherently learn information or like what your first initial reaction is to information. And so what I want you to do for the activity is this, okay? We're all in these different generations. Myself, I'm like on the very old scale of a millennial, right? But at the end of the day, that's kind of my generation. And so I view things differently than my parents or people who might be, just 10 years older than me. But what I've always wanted to do with this book, and that I'm hoping you're kind of getting, is that I don't want to write information or have you do things or teach you things that are very like, not very specific, because that's a waste of time. This book is designed to be 1 hour so they can help you fast. And so what I want you to do is this: take a piece of paper and write down, okay, I am reading this book because I want to present to this specific audience, right? Maybe it's a work thing. Maybe it's a big speech you have to give. Maybe it's a wedding. Maybe it's whatever. Whatever that is, write that down. Now, the second part is, in that audience, the ones that you're really going to be presenting to most often, break down what are the most, the majority of these generations. So is it, oh, hey, you know what? My company's all Gen Z and millennials mainly. Okay, cool. Write those two down. Oh, you know what? Mine's baby boomers and Gen X's and whatever. Maybe it's all of them. Whatever it is, write those down. Now look at those buckets, okay? And here's what I want you to do for the activity. I want you to take those buckets, whether it's 2, 3, or 4, and I want you to write this down, okay? I want you to write down, this cup of coffee is from a specialty coffee shop right down the road here, right? And it costs $6 for this vanilla latte. Okay, so the idea is this: I want you to look at those different generations. Think about this as a presentation. And I want you to say, like, imagine if your presentation was you were selling this group on why this latte is worth $6. Okay, but for each generation, I want you to write specific notes around how you would try to convince this specific group that a latte this big, 12 ounces, is worth $6. Because I can tell you, depending upon when someone grew up and their kind of social norms and their general age demographic, they're really gonna look at a $6 latte in a different way. Okay, so do that as an exercise to get your brain going around how you think about saying things, because remember, whatever generation you're in, if you present and you make kind of claims and you make statements that make a lot of sense to you, but don't resonate with other people in other generations, you're gonna lose your audience, just like with the learning styles. So it's really crucial that you remember to always think about where people came from, what time they came from, how they learned information, how they were taught information. All that is impactful in the way that you disseminate what you're trying to get across.